Hi, it's John Terry, the Black Belt Leader, and welcome to another Black Belt Leadership Master Your Life podcast. This particular episode, Reboot. You know, King Solomon of ancient Israel and author James Allen brought a thought and really a fact that we need to consider as we're giving consideration to our thinking. Because as you think, you become. I want to spend a few minutes dwelling on this particular topic today and the importance of rebooting our thinking to up-level our success in life. You know, recently I was working at my home office, and while I was there, a notice on my computer came up and said, Windows has downloaded a new update that requires a reboot of your computer. Fine. So I clicked the button to allow Windows to do what it needed to do. About the same time, my iPhone prompted me that an update was required. I also had to reboot my phone. So what did I have to do? Well, number one, I had to stop what I was doing. Number two, I had to wait for my computer and my smartphone to download whatever updates were required and to install them onto each of those devices. And in the interim, I had to wait. I had to be patient and wait for the process of rebooting to be completed. Now, the end result of that was that wow moment that all of a sudden my computer and my smartphone now had the latest and greatest updates, enhancements, whatever they were downloading at that particular time. But oftentimes with my iPhone, or sometimes even with my computer, new features and benefits I didn't have before all of a sudden were available to me. Now, when we think about rebooting, by definition, a reboot is a restarting of a computer by loading an operating system or making an update to an existing operating system. Or number two, to make a change in something in order to establish a new beginning. Now, I want you to think about that second definition, to make a change in something, our thinking, to make a change in ourselves in order to establish a new beginning. Now, because of new information that was available to be downloaded onto my phone and my computer, a reboot was necessary so the operating system could fully integrate these updates and these enhancements and allow me to have a better experience and to do things I previously was unable to do. Now, let's compare that to the greatest supercomputer of all times, the human brain. I love neuroscience, and I spend a lot of time reading about studies and what we're learning about thinking and behavior. When we look at the brain and what we're learning about it today, how it functions, the incredible complexity of this amazing supercomputer, it's almost beyond comprehension. Now, by far, it is probably the most sophisticated computer that's ever been created. And one of the things I love about the computer called the brain is it's constantly downloading new information. The brain is constantly updating. It's constantly responding to stimuli. It's building new neural pathways. It's constantly learning and changing. But what we download and what we allow to be installed into our mind impacts our operating system, our thinking. This shapes how we view ourselves, whether for good or for bad. And the way we think shapes what we become. It either expands or limits our future because of the thinking that we bring to life. Now, because of the new information that we're downloading, sometimes a reboot of our brain is required so that we can enhance our opportunity to see success in life. But if we're downloading good information, fantastic. If we're downloading not so good information, well, maybe not so good. But sometimes we can download bad information that can take our thinking and ultimately take us in the wrong direction. Now, downloading an update to software in our computer or on our smartphone or even into our brain can be a good thing. But by the same token, downloading a computer virus can wreak havoc on any operating system, including our thinking. A virus could render my computer or my smartphone inoperable. So by the same token, it makes sense to think about what we are allowing to come into our thinking, what we are allowing to be programmed into that supercomputer that we call the brain. So how do we download updates into our brain? Is there some magic chip that we can plug into? Well, essentially, there is. We download updates into our brain by what we see, by what we hear, and by what we experience. Now, in John Maxwell's 21 Laws of Leadership, John talks about the law of the lid. And in the law of the lid, John reminds us that nobody can rise higher than the lid they place on themselves. Their thinking, their ability to lead, limits their opportunity to see success. So what we think or what we believe about ourselves is going to limit what we can do, what we can accomplish, or what we can achieve. Now, if you don't believe you can do something, well, then you can't. Your limiting beliefs ultimately end up putting a roadblock on your future opportunities to grow, to mature, and to pursue black belt excellence in your life. Have you ever wanted to do something amazing, to see farther, to go and to explore? Have you ever said to yourself, you know, I wished I could do that? Have you ever dreamed of changing the world or maybe making a difference? Well, depending on how you see yourself, your opportunities are either limited or they're limitless. But here's what I do know. Within each and every one of us, there are unlimited possibilities. Every single one of us has unique talents, gifts, and abilities that are unique to us through which we can change the world around us, one person at a time. Now, I believe each and every one of us was born with a passion to make a positive difference in the world. But sometimes we put a lid on what we can do. The way we see ourselves shapes our view of the world and what we believe we can or we cannot do. And when we cannot see ourselves being successful, we stop trying to be successful in that area. You know, limited thinking often inserts a period where we should have a comma. Now, think about that. This is what I like to refer to as the but syndrome. Now, what do I mean by the but syndrome? We want to pursue excellence. We want to change the world. We want to attempt something new, but our but gets in the way. But I'm not smart enough. But I don't have a college education. But I don't have enough money. But I don't have whatever your excuse is that you can place after that but. Well, your ability to see success and to achieve significance and to accomplish amazing things in your life ends where your but begins. So you got to get your but out of the way, and removing the but syndrome from your life gives you an opportunity to develop and deploy the black belt leader within. You know, pursuing black belt excellence as a leader in life means we've got to get rid of our limited thinking and our excuse making that holds us back. That's what it is. It's an excuse. In essence, we've got to reboot our thinking. We've got to reboot the way we see ourselves so that we can go to the very next level of success in our own lives and to accomplish that next great thing that we have been put on this earth to do. Now, there have been some historic reboots in the past. Think about Abraham Lincoln, a failed politician who became one of the greatest presidents in history. Thomas Edison, who learned how not to invent the light bulb hundreds of times before he was successful. He then went on to create motion pictures and many of the modern conveniences that we see as commonplace today. Martin Luther King Jr., he overcame prejudice and injustice to champion the cause of unity among the races, and he changed the culture of the world. Walt Disney overcame the ridicule of his drawing ability as a child and was told that he would never accomplish anything of significance to become one of the most loved cartoonists of all times. Walt Disney changed how families are entertained, and his vision for a cartoon-themed amusement park now has venues, Disneyland, Disney World, Disney's all around the globe. You know, Tom Brady, one of my son's heroes, was overlooked in the early rounds of the NFL. When the draft came, he was late in the draft, but he went on to become a 5-time Super Bowl champion, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all times. Now, think about the accomplishments of other people. Amazing people like Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. Alexander Graham Bell, George Washington Carver, Elvis Presley, Bruce Lee, and amazing countless men and women who throughout history have risen from humble beginnings to achieve greatness in some way. They rebooted their thinking to achieve a different and a better outcome. Men and women throughout history have refused to allow people or circumstances to put a lid on their future because they looked inside and they discovered, they developed, and they deployed that black belt leader within. Now, what would have happened if all of our historic heroes of the past had let their butt get in the way of their dream? We wouldn't know them as we know them today. So how do we reboot ourselves? How do we reboot our thinking so that we can achieve a different and a better outcome in our own lives and make the difference that we were put on earth to accomplish? Well, number one, we need to understand that we are the sum total of what we see, what we hear, and what we experience. These things define who we are and how we see ourselves. So our first and most important step is we have to become intentional about what we allow to enter through our eyes and our ears, what we experience in life. So let me share some tips to giving you an opportunity to reboot your thinking to become a better version of yourself. Number one, you need to hire a coach or a mentor, someone who is ahead of you that has already experienced life at a level you have not, that is willing and able to share their knowledge and experience and to equip you so that you can fast start your learning curve to become a better version of yourself. Maybe you need to change the TV, the radio, or the social media channel you're tuning into, or maybe you just need to turn it off and get away from all of that negativity, or as one of my friends likes to describe it, chewing gum for the eyes and the ears. Get away from that and begin to develop yourself. Now, how can you develop yourself? Let me encourage you to bookend your day. I've talked about that in an earlier version of the Master Your Life podcast. Start the first 30 minutes to an hour of the day reading something educational, inspirational, or learning how other successful leaders have learned to lead and learning from their failures as you read their books. And then at the end of the day, go back, read some more, reflect and learn on what you did well, what you didn't do well, and where you failed so that you can learn from those mistakes. Let me challenge you to also rethink those who are in your inner circle. The 5 people that are closest to you, you become a composite of later on in life. And if you are not spending time and having in your inner circle those people who are successful and having an opportunity to encourage you to become a better version of yourself, you need to rethink those that are closest to you. Another reboot tip is you need to redefine and refine your goals, your dreams, and your ambitions for the future. If it's something you can accomplish by yourself, your dreams and your goals are too small. Now, maybe for you, maybe it's time to take a dream break where you've got an opportunity to stop what you're doing and dream. Or thinking back to what we did as children, when we dreamed of all these amazing things we wanted to be. We wanted to be an astronaut. We wanted to be president. We wanted to be a computer scientist. We wanted to be X, Y, or Z. And then all of a sudden we got into school. And instead of teaching us how to think, our teachers taught us what to think. And our dreams were buried. Maybe it's time to dig deep within ourselves and to dig up those dreams and begin to dream again. And then once you start dreaming, once you start refining your goals of where you want to go and the difference you want to make, you've then got to start pursuing your dreams. You can't sit idly on the side and wait for something to happen. One of the attributes of a black belt leader is the fact that they are kinetic. They take action to make their dreams become reality. And the last reboot tip is you've got to stop seeing yourself as a victim. You've got to stop blaming your circumstances or situation and everyone else for what's going on in your life. Your choices that you make every single day dictate the consequences of your life that you experience. So if you don't like the consequences of your life that you're experiencing, you've got to change your choices. Remember, as you think, you become. Now, ladies, gentlemen, no matter who you are, your thinking is going to determine your success or the lack thereof in your life. To accomplish great things, you've got to believe that you can accomplish greatness. If you don't believe greatness is within you, greatness will never rise. Until you believe there is a black belt leader within you waiting to be discovered, developed, and deployed to make a difference in the earth, it's never going to happen. So you need to reboot your thinking. You need to remove the limits that are artificially holding you back from accomplishing what you have been put on this earth to do. So to do that, what do we have to do? First, you've got to stop doing what you're doing now, allowing limited thinking and this mindset of I'm not enough to hold you back. Everything you have need of is already within you. You just need to cultivate it, to grow it, and to release it to take action. Secondly, you need to start the process of downloading new information, reading books, listening to podcasts like the one you're listening to now, having an opportunity to learn from other successful leaders so that you can take what they have learned and apply that into your life to become a better version of who you are. And you've got to be patient. This rethinking process isn't going to happen overnight. But as you begin to retrain your thinking, all of a sudden, opportunities that have always been in front of you, waiting for you to see them and seize them, you're going to see sometimes for the very first time. And for the first time, many of you are going to believe, I can do that. And when you do, when you stop what you're doing, when you wait long enough to download some new information and change your thinking for the better, and be patient as you're growing, all of a sudden, you're going to wow yourself and everyone around you. The end result of a reboot of your thinking is an installation of the latest and greatest of developing, discovering, and deploying that black belt leader within you. As you pursue black belt excellence as a leader in life, you've got an opportunity to make a difference, not only in your life, but in the lives of those around you. So think about this. How you see yourself either limits what you can do, or it opens the door to the amazing possibilities when you can reboot so that you can have an I can do this attitude rather than a mindset of I can't and I won't. You know, one of my mentors, Chris Robinson, says, and I think it's a powerful quote, it's not that you can't, it's that you won't. And that choice is yours. So let me encourage you to wow your life. Choose the better alternative. Choose to grow. Choose to become a better version of yourself, and choose to take the action steps necessary to become that black belt leader in life that you were put on this earth to accomplish. I'm John Terry, the Black Belt Leader. Thanks for joining me for this podcast, Master Your Life. You can find us on social media, and we're out there. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Vimeo, YouTube, Parler, Anchor, Spotify, Rumble, Gab, USA Life. Go find us, connect with us, follow us, and invite a friend to do likewise. Easiest way to find all our social media is to visit our website via blackbeltleader.com to connect with us there. And while you're there, be sure and subscribe to our newsletter. Every week, we send out a weekly leadership insight for your own personal growth and development or to share with your team. It's a free resource from Black Belt Leadership to help you continually discover, develop, and deploy that black belt leader so you can make a difference in life. Hey, thanks for joining me for this episode of Black Belt Leadership, Master Your Life. I'm John Terry, the Black Belt Leader. Have a great day.